monster.
I'm your number one fan.
Now clear your minds. Notice what scares you. It has from the very beginning.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
It's been informed that zombies have entered the building. They're at the door. They're coming in.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. I'm your host as always, Corey, and alongside me is my good pal, Tony. What's going on, bro?
Not much, man. How you been, Corey?
I've been good. Getting over being sick. I'm starting to get my voice back, so that's good.
Yeah, you're sounding better, man. I heard you a couple days ago. You definitely lost a little bit of your voice, but you're sounding pretty good now.
It was rough. It was like some sort of sinus infection or something, but I don't know. It was making me like lose wind and stuff like that. It was pretty rough.
Rough, yeah.
But back at it.
Back at it in full.
How about you, man? How's things been on your end?
Been good, man. I feel like we took a month off there for a minute. I feel like it's been a while since we recorded, so it's good to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, I think we pretty much took like a week off, basically.
Yeah,
seems that way.
Felt a little bit longer, but like I said, I'm glad to be back at it.
Mm-hmm.
Going into it, finishing up the Christmas marathon of sorts we've been doing, so that's always good.
Definitely. So we are back at it with our suggestion episode. Are you excited about this suggestion?
Yeah, absolutely.
This was a good one. I was excited about getting this one.
Yeah, me too. Funny story. We're talking about for the listeners out there, we're talking about 2015's Krampus. Not to be confused with a lot of other direct-to-video Krampuses that came out right after this came out. So there was a slew of them, man. I don't know if you remember going to Walmart and seeing a ton of them out there, just some knockoff, some really, really bad-looking monster creature effects, horrible covers. I mean, just the imitators were coming out, to say the least. They were pumping them out. But no, we were talking about 2015's Michael Dougherty's Krampus. So
yes,
but I don't know if you remember, but I do remember when this was coming out in theaters. I heard about it and I looked. I was like, "Oh, okay, Michael Dougherty, the same guy that directed Trick or Treat, which is a very near and dear movie to me and you, I believe, hold the same regard as I do about it." So, when I heard about that, I was pretty excited. But then when I found out it was PG-13, I got less excited. so yeah, that stigma of PG-13 horror comes and rears its ugly head again. But that said, I kind of wish I did get to check it out in theaters when it was originally released. That would have been fun. Seeing this would have been a good time. So
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, for some reason, just horror films kind of drive me away once it's like, oh, it's PG-13, because you got to think, what was it? World War Z did that, and then oh geez, what was that other movie that came out? Better Watch Out.
Yeah,
it was another Christmas film. Kind of did that,
Ton of movies do that, just to appeal to a more mainstream audience, which I get it. It's a thing. It's a studio thing. They want to make more money. I get it, but to horror fans that want a little bit more edge and stuff like that is kind of a bummer. So it is what it is. You take the good with the bad with it sometimes. I'm not saying that all PG-13 horror films are bad, not at all. I mean, there's some really stellar examples of how to do it right out there. So
yeah, and I mean, honestly, I can look past it with this film. This is one of those films where it is PG-13, but I can look past it, honestly.
Yeah, it's not a major hindrance to it. So,
but
would you? I guess we can kind of get into it with the plot and everything like that.
Yeah, So pretty much, I guess I'll do a quick synopsis real quick.
Okay.
So pretty much you're following this character by the name of Max, who pretty much gets like bullied, picked on, stuff like that. He's kind of almost like the runt of the family, really. And basically, just one Christmas, he's had it, and all he's wanted is just a normal Christmas, and that's what he wished for from Santa. And lo and behold, of course, he gets picked on by his cousins and stuff like that, and that drives him to, rip up the Santa letter and stuff, which basically drives your. Well, I guess you would. Well, it's said the shadow of Santa. Is that what it is? Krampus to come into play, and basically it's like when you lose hope, or somebody makes you lose hope of Santa. This evil spirit, I guess you will, basically comes and basically takes your whole family away, essentially, or at least the ones that make you to the point where you're losing hope in Santa. And that's the brief synopsis. I'm sure we're going to get into spoiler territory with this one.
For sure.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's anything you want to add to that? I guess that's the brief synopsis, though.
No, I mean that's pretty much it. He loses faith in the season, and all he wants is a normal Christmas. He's got a very dysfunctional family. Mom and dad aren't on the same page. They don't get along as much as they used to. His sister's kind of a bully toward him, kind of was, like a snarky, just making fun of him all the time at his own expense. And really, his closest confidant is his grandmother, his German grandmother, who he calls Omi, I think is what it is. So, he's very, and I like their relationship too. It's very sweet and very soft. It's a warm-hearted, relationship where he, she only speaks German to him, so he kind of understands what she's saying, but you could tell that they have like a very budding, sweet relationship, and it's really cool. That's really the closest he has with somebody in his family during the current time that they're in right now, because there's a lot of dysfunction. So, and then on top of that, his uncle, his aunt, and like I said, his cousins come over, and all hell pretty much breaks loose with them. A lot of infighting with the family, can't get along. Just not even really fighting, but they're just like, I don't know, they're just making snarky comments back and forth to each other, and it's just kind of getting under their, each other's skin, and it's just a really uncomfortable Christmas time in that household.
Yeah.
And then bring their Aunt Dorothy, who's just the worst. She has everything negative to say. There's nothing positive that comes out of her mouth. So
None whatsoever.
nothing.
Yeah. Nothing.
So I mean, it's just dysfunction, and he kind of just loses. He just kind of hits his breaking point almost, and he's like, well, all I just wanted was something normal. Can't even have that. So he's just like, you know what, I'm done. I'm ripping up my letter and throwing it out there, and that pretty much is the catalyst for the ensuing carnage that transpires with the titular Krampus and his minions, his many minions that he has. Yeah. But right from the gate, man, the opening is fun because it shows like how chaotic and stressful and just batshit insane that the holiday shopping season can be, with the department store, and then the music's playing, the Christmas music's playing, everybody's like fighting over like gifts and stuff like that, and it's just chaotic, and it's just perfectly represented with how crazy it can be around this time of year when it comes to shopping and doing. That's why I guess online shopping is kind of
taken off,
lessening that a little bit, and more taking off than it was in previous years, especially when this was made. I mean, this being made in 2015. So
that's I actually wrote that down, that the intro was insane and fun. I mean, that's the best way to describe it there.
It really is. I mean, along with the Christmas music, of course. I mean, it right away, you're watching a Christmas film, because I mean, it just right out the gate, it just has Christmas aesthetic all over it. So it's cool. I like how they jump into that. there's like a pageant or something going on where Max is fighting with some other kid in the pageant, and they're just going toe to toe, like just going crazy, fighting with each other, and his parents come running up, and it's all shot in slow mo, so it's really neat. Another neat little aesthetic.
Yeah.
They kind of break him off, and then it's just it's perfect way to encapsulate how crazy it is around that time of year or this year. But yeah, then it goes into them at the house. They come back from that. Not long after that, the aunt and uncle and the cousins come over with the great aunt, and that's when everything happens. Everything starts off.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much like that. That whole, it kind of reminded me of like, almost kind of like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation in a sense, because you got this really nice suburban house, and then like, of course, they roll in a Humvee, but it just seems like it would be more fitting if they rolled up in an RV.
Yeah, I mean, Howard's essentially Uncle Eddie.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily personality wise, but just the way he is, and the way he comes off on screen. It's very, very similar. So
I mean, down to they just brought a dog.
Yeah, the dog.
And it's like, so that's Snots right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that Howard was very similar to Eddie, and that's pretty much it. And then, like, of course, his wife, Linda, is that her name?
Yeah, Linda.
Yeah, she almost reminded me of Eddie's wife from National Lampoon. So it was kind of neat seeing that, because I was like, there you go. It's kind of a little nod right there. I think it was strictly a nod.
I believe so too. Yeah, there's a lot of nods to other films, especially of the Christmas variety in this movie. Right out the gate, man, I just want to touch on the performances. Solid cast, absolutely solid, knocking it out of the park. Anytime you have Toni Collette in a movie, she delivers, man. She is awesome. She's quickly becoming my favorite actress in horror, just from she has so much expression in her face, and her acting is always top notch. I love it. She always brings it, no matter what project she's working on. She's a class act. She deserves an Academy nomination for many things, Hereditary especially, but the fact that the Academy shuns horror and doesn't really give it the time of day is kind of just so unfortunate for her, because I mean, she deserves it, man. She's just a phenomenal actress. But even I can't remember, Adam Scott. There you go. Adam Scott, who plays Tom, the dad, is really, really, really solid too. He's great. A lot of comedy actors in this, and it's pretty cool to see, especially with Tom. He's not really playing a comedic role here, but he plays the straight man, and he plays the straight man very well. Like, he seems like the Chevy Chase of Christmas Vacation in this movie. He's very suburban, buttoned up. He just wants to have a good time or with his family, and kind of, he's a workaholic too, kind of, in a way, where he's, getting called into work, and that's kind of what's causing some strife between him and his wife. And I did notice that too. I mean, it's very, me and you could pretty much assume that this is all intentional, by Michael Dougherty. Pretty sure he's watched Christmas Vacation a couple times, and kind of pulled a little bit of inspiration there. But the performances are just so good, man. They're really good. Yeah,
I can't knock a single one, like even down to the child actors, really.
Yeah,
every single one of them was really good.
Yeah. I mean, the one, Howie Jr., doesn't even say a word. He's all acting just on the expression. And really not even expression, it's just one expression, but you get the point of what he is and what kind of character he is. So yeah, it's pretty cool. They all act within their zone, so to speak. It's like I said, Toni Collette especially, she's just so good. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I liked her kind of freak out moment in the kitchen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's a scene.
It felt warranted because you could tell this woman was under so much stress, and she just wanted to, give everybody a good dinner and stuff like that. Everyone was complaining about it. You just felt like it was earned.
Yeah.
Like anybody in her position probably.
I like just the snide remark she makes to her Aunt Dorothy. Like Aunt Dorothy's in there and she says something. What was it? She was getting ready. She was getting some dessert ready or something, right?
Yeah.
She was like using like a flame torch or whatever, just like torch and shit.
Yeah.
And then, like it was really fancy, like dessert. And she was like, "Oh, of course you would whip something up like that or something." And she was like, "Well, I'm sorry, this isn't that good. Maybe next year we'll meet each other at your trailer."
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Yeah, because you could just tell at that point she's had it.
Yeah.
She wasn't in the mood to take anybody's shit. She's already taken enough.
Yeah.
Just done. So it felt really earned. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool moment. But yeah, man, there's a lot of dysfunction in this family, and it's played across the screen very well.
Mm-hmm.
Almost feels natural and normal because his family's like that, man. They just whatever they do, and even it was cool, like the moment Max is talking to his dad in his room when he gets into a little fight with his cousins because his cousins are making fun of him for still believing in Santa Claus and writing Santa Claus a note and stuff like that. So he fights with. They get into a fight, and he mentions to his dad because his dad comes in to check on him in his room. And he's like, "Well, why did they have to be here? They ruin everything and this and that." And he's like, "Well, this family." He's like, "That's what you do, even if you don't always get along, and if you don't, see eye to eye, and you're not the best of friends, you still, are together during the holidays, and you still, spend that time together." And he's like, "Well, why? I don't understand." He's like, "Well, maybe it's to what is the expression he says? Maybe it's to like better understand them, and your differences will make you grow closer or something like that." And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty neat. Pretty neat little touch there."
Oh, yeah.
Because at first it's like, I don't know, you got me there. And then he thought about it. And, well, it's like maybe we're just, the more time we spend together, the more we'll understand each other, essentially. So, it's nice trying to teach him a life lesson there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, literally after that, and after he goes to sleep, tears up the letter, that's when, the blizzard starts going. Oh man, can we talk about the outside, the blizzard, the snow, the sound, all of it is just so top notch, man.
Oh, it is.
It's cool.
Yeah. And even, because obviously with with a film like this, it's going to have CGI and stuff like that. The CGI was well done,
Well, the gingerbread man, but we'll get into that. No, I hear you, man. Yeah, it's for the most part very seamless, and even with when we first see Krampus, this is my favorite scene in the whole movie. Favorite sequence in the whole movie is when the oldest daughter Beth goes to her boyfriend's house, which I didn't understand that decision at all. If there's a blizzard going on outside and it's that bad, why would you let your daughter go across the ways to her boyfriend? I don't get that at all. But it's like whatever.
That wouldn't happen.
No, it wouldn't happen. Not dude. It's a blizzard.
So the thing is like even like Howard has this macho Humvee, I'd have been like, look, my Porsche probably can't take her there. I don't know what kind of car they drive. But then he's like, he could have just been like, hey, can you take her in that big ass Humvee you got?
Or something. Or just not let go. I mean, it's fucking
or
outside.
No. Hey, you're 14. Go walk.
Yeah. Go walk in this crazy ass blizzard that's going on and just burying houses in snow and burying everything in snow. I mean, essentially is. I mean, there's just so much snow coverage.
So my thing is okay. So why in that moment, why didn't Omi speak up? She knows what's going on the entire time.
Yeah. Well, I know. I mean, that's why she was keeping. I guess that's why, because as soon as that happened,
she started keeping the fire warm.
Yeah, she was by the fireplace the whole time, and because even even Toni Collette's character, the mom, is like, "Will you get your grandma out of the fireplace before she catches something on fire, before she gets caught on fire?" So like they're setting that up for a reason, and that's. But I mean, she doesn't. I think kind of toy with it. Doesn't really say until they know exactly what's happening. Until she knows exactly what's happening, then she tries to relay that back to them.
I think she knew all along.
Yeah.
Because in the moment the snow started happening, she was like preparing.
Yeah.
You know, it was like she could feel it. She had a connection to Krampus, you know.
Yeah. Oh
she
yeah,
knew.
yeah. With her backstory, we find out that she did. Yeah, which was really cool. I love the way it was done too. It was almost like what is that that art style that they used for I think it's like the Coraline aesthetic that they use. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. I wish I knew, but I love that design and it was really neat to really go back in a flashback, but do it that way.
Yeah.
You know, but that was a really good stylistic choice on the director's part. But yeah, you find out that she grew up in Germany, and her village that she grew up in was in turmoil, and everybody was in it out for themselves, and nobody trusted each other, and even her parents, she was almost trying to be that beacon of light, of warmth and peace and everything like that. But then she was just, they took her doll, ripped it up, and that was like a symbol of, their just complete, just an utter, just done with the holidays and done with the family and everything like that. And it really showed. She kind of lost herself there and kind of wished that they were gone. And sure enough, she got her wish. That really happened. Krampus came and snatched up everybody.
Yeah, and then left her a little bell.
Yeah, left her a bell, and then left her as a reminder of what losing hope around the holidays would be, or what it would mean. So maybe Krampus was coming back. Maybe it wasn't Max, but it was also Krampus coming back to finish the job with her. I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah, because they had a little stand.
Yeah, I think it was all because they built that up to a little bit of a standoff. But I think Max was the main catalyst. I think that's why he came in and started harassing the family, and I think that's why. I think it was just a coincidence that the grandmother was there, and just old, not old habits, but an old grudge kind of led to a face-off there, and just a coincidence. But man, I was gonna say my favorite sequence in the whole movie is watching Krampus jump from roof to roof while the blizzard was going. That was so amazing, man. I loved it. Yeah. So cool, dude. I dug the hell out of it. It's just haunting to see that giant beast of a creature hopping like nothing from house to house on hind legs of a deer, not a deer, but goat. Yeah, excuse me.
Giant goat legs.
Giant goat was so fucking cool, man.
It is
really, really neat. The sound of him hitting the roofs and going back and forth was so good. The sound is great in this movie. You hear the winds, the howls of the wind and everything like that. The snow. I mean, it's just brilliantly done. It's like a giant, huge, like destructive blizzard going on outside, to where you can't even barely see the other houses across the street and near your house. I mean, it's pretty much blanketing the whole neighborhood. It's cool. Even the not the FedEx guy, but the DHL guy gets caught in it, and yeah.
Poor bastard.
Yeah, poor guy.
I was kind of wondering that, because like, I wonder if at this point they were already gone. That's what I was wondering. I was really confused by that, because it's like, because they were like, oh, well, we can't go to this person's house or this person's house. They're in Florida. They're, somewhere overseas and stuff like that. Yeah. So it just so happened that everyone in this fucking town was on vacation except this one family.
Yeah, everyone was gone.
Yeah.
Well,
so I'm kind of wondering if they were already gone pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I think the boyfriend's family had to be there for him to be there because he was a kid. I mean, it's not like he could be in that house by himself. I mean, he might have, could have been, but I doubt it. Not around the holidays anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that family was probably there. And then when they got to that house, when they were exploring, trying to find the older daughter, they got there and the house was a wreck. Everything was. That's where they noticed the hind legs. Like I'd never seen an elk or something like that walk on its hind legs like this. So it kind of threw them off, and they're just trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
And then the gingerbread cookie was stuck to the fridge with a knife.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Uh-huh. Yeah, dude. Can we talk about Krampus's minions and how cool they are?
Well, first and foremost, the snowmen never come to life, right?
No, I think that was because I noticed it, and I never noticed it before until I watched it this time around. But it was like the elves were building the snowmen to basically resemble the characters that they took away from them. Because I noticed after they took Howie Jr., there was a snowman that looked just like Howie Jr.
Mm-hmm.
So it was almost like the elves were taunting them with the snow.
Because I just noticed that, one scene there was like one snowman.
Yeah,
and the next thing you know, there was like 10 of them.
Yeah, that's what I got out of it. I mean, the snowmen were almost basically like the doppelgangers of everybody in the neighborhood, possibly that was taken. That's my guess. I mean, I might be totally off, but that's just what I got from it.
Okay.
But yeah, that was pretty neat. I dug the detail in those, and I love how he's just like, hey, there's somebody built a snowman in our yard, and they're like, okay, almost like it's almost like a not important thing. They really didn't feel like that was important at all.
How dare you?
Yeah. Those fucking carolers are coming back building snowman. Those unsolicited snowman in our yard. But I would say that this movie is almost like a gateway horror film to like a kid or something like that that's starting to get into horror and stuff like that. Someone doesn't want horror movies with a really hard edge. This is kind of has a lighter edge to it. It's a little bit easier to digest when you're starting to get into the genre and when you're younger and stuff like that. Like a movie like The Monster Squad or even like Gremlins or something like that. This is kind of like that movie for our generation and even our kids' generation. So it's something that you can ease them into, before you get them into the crazy stuff later on down the road, of course. But this is just one of those movies that fits that kind of that little subgenre of gateway horror films. Because I could see with the PG-13, I mean, really, the PG-13 was they only used fuck like one time, and that's probably what got it the PG-13 rating. So, with the PG-13 rating, you could say that word one time. So they utilized that in a pretty effective scene.
Yeah,
I might add.
It was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the minions.
Mm.
So what minions are you wanting to discuss? We got
Well,
a lot of them here.
I'd like to talk about the Jack in the Box because that guy was one of my favorites. Because I mean, his articulating jaw when he's swallowing the kid, and how it just it's almost like the Thing. When the Thing like opens up and it gave me that vibe. But then his body is just like this pulsating worm, like it's really gross, but it's contained within the Jack in the Box, which is really cool. I just think one thing about Michael Dougherty, man, he knows how to do monsters, man. He is definitely the monster guy. I would love to see him remake Nightbreed or something like that. Kill that shit, man, with his like creativity when it comes to monsters and monster designs and stuff like that. He would own that shit. And it would be awesome. But that Jack in the Box is my favorite, man. I don't know about you, but and then when he gets stuck, like because he's so big and so massive, he can't get around so he's like almost like freaking out in the walls trying to get just great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I dug the shit out of him. I would say out of all the minions, he's probably my favorite.
Definitely my favorite.
I really like, and this is kind of skipping way the fuck ahead, but I really love the scene where he's
we skip around.
The scene where he falls through the fucking roof into the living room, and then that's when all hell fucking breaks loose.
Yeah.
And the elves come in and everything. I love that scene because he's just like clapping.
He's clapping. So great, man.
Yeah. I love that scene because it was funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was almost really like childlike.
Yeah. Well,
kind of unsettling, really.
Yeah, even the elves are cool because they're like they fit that Nordic look because they have the mask on and they're very like I don't know. Nordic is the only thing I can think of the way that they look, which fit because that is like folklore and Krampus is folklore, and so all of that blends together and makes sense that they look like the way they do because I mean that's just passed down from generation to generation. What you hear about from ancestors and whatnot, it just keeps going, and that's almost what I would think that they would describe like Krampus's elves if they were to describe them. That's what they would look like. So I think it was the attention to detail is very, very, very well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did see because I watched my kind of showed off the that new naughty cut of Krampus that I found at Best Buy. And I watched some of the behind the scenes and stuff like that, and the practical effects and stuff that were used with these monsters and the designs and stuff are really cool. Like Krampus had, like you know how he has his long fingers. Well, they basically had like this exoskeleton inside like rubber, and they were able to articulate each one of the fingers and stuff like that. So it's really neat how
that's cool.
much detail they put into it.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like was Krampus's face.
You didn't like it? I thought it was pretty creepy.
It's cool, you know, and it kind of reminded me of the Thing a little.
Yeah.
You know, because I would see like that on a monster on the Thing.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is I don't know. I was kind of wanting to see it move.
Yeah.
I wanted some expression, not just frozen expression.
Well, that's the thing. He almost had like a mask of Santa Claus on his face. It wasn't even his face. His face was behind it. Like, because you could see the eyes behind it, and it's of a demon creature. It's not even of that. So it's like wearing a mask of what you would think Santa Claus would look like, which is fucking creepy, man. Honestly. And then you see the giant horns. And to me, it works because that just like, if I think of like, something, if I think of a Krampus, I think of some like a creature that's trying to emulate Santa Claus but be evil. If you take off Santa's face and wear it as a mask, that's pretty fucking evil. So to me, it just looked cool because you could see behind. It was almost like I don't know. This is a weird reference, but it's like Count Dooku or not Count Dooku. General Grievous from Star Wars when he's like pretty much like a droid, but he has like a creature behind him, his mask and his face and stuff like that. You could see it in his eyes and his expressions, but he's wearing a mask, and that's pretty much what Krampus was doing. It was the same way because that scene where it cuts into his eyes, you can see his eyes looking at him. They're red like demon eyes.
Okay.
So it's like behind that mask, and that's what kills me is like you don't know what's behind that mask. It could be Krampus could look like anything.
Yeah.
And it's really, really, it gets you thinking and it gets you more invested. So,
okay.
Yeah, I love the look of it. I love the fact that he's on goat legs and he's all hunched over and stuff like that. He's got giant horns and he's got the suit. And it's just look cool. So cool.
All right, maybe I was looking at it wrong. I was thinking that it was his actual face.
Yeah, he's definitely wearing a mask, man. You could see the real face kind of behind the eyes.
Which I mean makes sense because his elves are wearing masks.
Mm-hmm. And that's how I can kind of tell that it definitely was a mask because even the elves were wearing them. So
yeah, okay.
there's more expression in his eyes behind the mask that really sells it for me.
All right. So what did you think about the other creatures?
Other creatures, like the little guys, like the angel on top of the tree was trying to hang Toni Collette's character.
Yeah.
Something about Toni Collette, she always gets hanged in movies. It's crazy. But yeah, that was pretty cool design when he's trying to stick its tongue in her face and stuff like that. It's like, ugh.
That reminded me of the Thing too.
Yeah, it's disgusting, man.
I was like, oh, that's like something out of the Thing.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. The teddy bear that attacks.
I didn't care for the teddy bear.
Yeah. I did like the green goo that came out of his eye when he got stabbed in the eye. That was pretty.
That was pretty cool.
I didn't care for the gingerbread man. They drove me crazy. I didn't.
No, let's talk about that.
Yeah, they did. I didn't like them. CGI didn't work for me. Just didn't. You have a bunch of practicality used in the movie, and then you have these CGI gingerbread men. And it's just like they just.
I just like how they were fucking shit up with a nail gun. Where the fuck did they even get that nail gun?
Where they got that nail gun? I sure I do not know, but they got a hold of it, and they were wreaking havoc with it.
I just like how he was fucking them up with that shotgun and shit. Pretty crazy.
Blowing them away, except for the one.
Yeah.
Then the dog
ate it.
It was great timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah, so yeah, everything about those minions and stuff I really liked.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, Tony, though, the gingerbread in the chimney, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
The one that was like popping down at her face.
Yeah.
I didn't care for that.
Neither, man.
I mean, it was scary enough that this fat kid was being dragged up the chimney.
Yeah.
You know, by something they couldn't see. That should have just induced enough fear into the whole family right there.
It was almost like, because Krampus has chains on him and stuff like that. It was almost like would have been more effective if Krampus himself was doing that. It wasn't just his minions that were getting that kid. Like he had a play in it too, and he had more involvement. Because he seemed to like really get excited about torturing and capturing this family and pretty much locking them up in like this giant, almost like purgatory of Christmas, and that's just his thing. If you lose, and well, I mean, it is to some extent because I think Max pretty much got despondent, like a lot of kids probably around the world do, and Santa is like, okay, well, or Krampus is like, well, if you're despondent with the holidays and you want it to kind of be how it used to be, I'm going to make you relive that every day for the rest of your existence. And that's what you get from like the ending almost. You get that feel like, oh, he's stuck in like,
well, like you said, it's kind of purgatory.
Yeah.
You know,
and I love the fact that they're encased within a snow globe. And then it pulls back. I know we're kind of jumping ahead. But see all the different snow globes in Krampus's workshop and factory and his you know, pretty much his workshop. I mean, you see tons of them. So he's been doing this for forever, capturing families and preserving them in like a purgatory.
Yeah,
it's like I said, the ending was great. I love that. Thought that was cool.
Yeah, so I guess we can kind of talk about that pretty much. You know, pretty much the family. So the family's basically leaving the house at this point. They've got a game plan that they're leaving.
Yeah.
And Krampus is coming regardless. There's no going back. There's a giant hole in the fucking living room now. You know, the elves came in. They threw shit on the fire. It's going out. Omi's trying to get it lit again. There's a giant hole in the fucking wall. There's no going back.
No going back. And then, you know, even the listeners are like, well, why didn't they just take Uncle Howard's giant Humvee that was advertised? This is that. Well, it got smashed. Completely fucking totaled and smashed.
Yeah.
So that was out of the question. They couldn't do that. They did try, but it didn't work.
Yeah. So it's pretty much a lost cause at this point.
Yeah. So their last ditch effort is to grab the snow plow.
Yeah.
And that and kind of keep driving until they find some help. And that's their last ditch effort.
Mm-hmm.
Their plan to. But by that point, like each person in the family is getting snatched up one by one.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to mention, another one of my favorite things about this movie is this was almost for a second, this movie kind of turned into Tremors in the snow. So you're essentially you're trekking through the snow and you're getting sucked underneath the snow by whatever minions are doing it. I don't know who it is, the elves or who it is, but they're sucking.
See, I was thinking of like the sandworms from Beetlejuice because they were making that sound.
Yeah.
Under the snow, like they were making like it was like a snake sound.
Yeah. First thing I thought it was the graboids. I was thinking of Tremors, and that's essentially what I was like. This is like Tremors in the snow. Before I think that new Tremors took place in the snow, so maybe they got inspiration. I don't know, but I thought that was really neat, cool little touch to this movie where you have these characters getting sucked underneath the snow, and it's almost like a very dramatic moment where they're saying goodbye to their significant other or their kids or whatnot, and then they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kept happening and kept happening, and I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
So I had to bring that up too.
Which brings us down to the very last moment. So Max ends up finding his entire family before they get thrown into basically the pit of hell. Because he throws the bell, right?
Yeah.
He throws the bell, and then it's almost like a portal to, I guess you would say, Krampus's hell.
Yeah.
Opens up. And you can just hear people like screaming and shit in there.
Mm-hmm.
It straight up sounds like hell.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it sounds like your almost like your textbook movie definition of pit opening up ground and like hell being down there with fire and flames and brimstone and all that shit. That's essentially what you get here.
Yeah.
I love Krampus's like his sleigh and the almost like the giant yaks that he has. They don't have reindeer, like giant yak that are. They look.
It almost reminded me of something like Star Wars.
Yeah,
those creatures.
They're giant, dude, and they're fucking mean looking, and
yeah,
it fits what he is. Like it fits. That's exactly what you would think his reindeer would look like. So, I just love it. He's like the anti-everything Santa Claus. I mean, he takes it to the limit. But yeah, I guess Max tried to bargains with him.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially for his family, he's like, "Well, just take me and let everybody go." And Krampus is like, "Well, I'm not doing that. I'm taking all of you. You're all coming with me." So,
well, at first he kind of feels a little sympathy, or something.
I don't think he does, man. I think he's just really just fucking with him.
Well, because at one point Max is like literally crying, like pleading for his family, and you almost see a moment where Krampus is like feeling for him, like. He actually wipes a tear away from Max's eye.
I think it's just a ploy to really fuck with him. I really do, because like literally right after that happens, he looks at his elves, he starts laughing, and then they start laughing, and then he grabs him, and it just like almost like no hesitation on his part. He just right after he gets the tear, he looks and starts laughing, and then they all start laughing. So they know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah,
there's no bargaining with Krampus. He's coming after you. He's going to get you. He's going to get you. So,
yeah.
But the fact that this little kid had the balls to try to bargain with him and stuff like that, you got to give him kudos for that.
Well, and then tell him to fuck off.
Yeah.
Or whatever. He's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Kid's feisty, man. You can tell. I mean, it sticks with him throughout the movie. Like, he's feisty. He gets in the fights. He doesn't try to take people's shit. He kind of tries to fight back. So It's not like he's sitting there he's like the whipping boy the whole time. At least he has, some nerve.
Yeah. But I really do like the ending. Because Max wakes up and sorry, I'm coughing. But Max wakes up and he goes downstairs and everyone's all smiling. His sister's even there. Everyone's there. And for once, he's actually got his wish. Like they're acting like a normal functioning family.
Yeah.
And everyone is fine. And then he opens up this one little box and there's Krampus's bell and everyone is just instantly reminded, like you can just see it come over their face. Like, oh yeah.
Realizes, yeah, that they're stuck in purgatory.
Yeah. That's brutal.
So like the slow well, not really slow. You're right. As soon as he opens it up, opens up the present, like he tears it open, sees the bell. That's when everybody stops, and it's like, oh yeah, that's where we're at. That's what's going on. And
yeah,
behold, they're just one of many snow globes that are in this workshop of doom.
it's like thousands of snow globes laying every fucking where.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Good stuff, man. It's a great way for this movie to end. It's kind of like for a PG-13 horror film to end on like such a down note.
It's definitely like up your alley because it's really dark.
Yeah.
It's very dark. Yeah. I mean, for a Christmas movie, that's pretty dark for a Christmas movie.
Well, it kind of won me back over. Like I said, I wish this movie had a little bit more like of a harder edge. And it's kind of hard for it to be that with PG-13 rating, but they pretty much did what they could with it.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish it would have went for it a little bit more personally. I just think it would have been much more like if we went the trick or treat route, that would have been stellar. This movie would have been like everything I wanted a Christmas horror film to be if they kind of went that trick or treat route and they let them do that. I would have been completely sold. So I see what this movie could have been, and that's what worked. That's what kind of hinders certain things for me.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they kind of neutered it a little bit. But then again, it functions. Like I said, I get it. It functions. You have to make money. Studio has to make money. They have to mass appeal to a mainstream audience.
A more mainstream audience, yeah.
Absolutely.
It definitely does.
It feels like this is akin to like Conjuring and all that shit. Like this is, appealing to that market and stuff like that. I get it. And like I said, it's a perfect gateway film for the new horror film or the new horror fan to kind of branch out and try and see if this is their, if this is going to work for them or not. I mean, this is a perfect one to do that with.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, for seasoned horror fans, you want a little bit more. You want to see, this is the same guy that did Trick or Treat, man. He went for it in that movie.
Yeah.
You kind of want him to go for it again and just owned Halloween, man. Own Christmas, dude. Completely own it. And unfortunately, with studio interference, making it PG-13, that's not what happened. But that is not taking away anything from this movie at all. It's still great. I love the lore. I love how they built this character and these creatures. And like I said, the man is a creature like whisperer. I don't know how to explain it. He knows how to do effective creature design. So I can't knock him for that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, he would go on to do Godzilla King of the Monsters. I mean, he knows how to do monsters. So
yeah. You can definitely see what his influences are. You know, it's definitely presented in this film.
Man, I'd really love to tackle a Nightbreed remake. I really would. That would be so cool.
I could see that.
But not make it PG-13. Let's go back to R. Like, please.
Definitely.
I just think it would be so killer.
Yeah. Well, you got anything else you want to add about this?
I don't, man. I feel like I talked a lot and kind of. I hope I didn't talk over you, man. I'm sorry.
No.
I wanted to get across, and I wanted to do it before I left something. Because there's sometimes me and you'll be done with the podcast, and we'll be like, "Oh shit, I didn't bring that up." So I wanted to make sure I checked everything that I wanted to bring up, so I didn't have any loose ends. And I think I did. I think I've talked about the majority of what I needed to.
Yeah. I think I got everything covered. So, what did you rate this thing, man?
So this is like I said, what could have been, man? Oof, this could have been a 5-star, easy. Like just like Trick or Treat, could have been a 5-star, no question. But because they kind of went the PG-13 route, not saying that's all that's wrong with it. I mean, this is CGI that's kind of shoddy. I've never been a big fan of the gingerbread men. Never have been. They just didn't. They felt like out of place almost. I mean, all the other creatures are really practical and the designs are great, and then you just CGI these gingerbread men, and it's just I don't know. Never been a big fan of it, even back when I first saw it. So it hasn't grown on me, but maybe one day it will. I don't know. Things change, I guess. But like I said, the whole sequence with the blizzard and Krampus hopping around, like that shit's just gold to me. If it would have been that, and he would have been taking out like households and stuff like that, and this movie could have been legendary. Could have been a phenomenal seasonal like staple for me. But not knocking it or anything like that. I love the lore. Like I said, love the lore. Characters, the acting was phenomenal. Everything aesthetically was pitch perfect. You aesthetic wise, you can't get any better than that. So I gave it a solid 4-star out of 5.
Okay.
4 stars on my letterbox for this bad boy.
Okay. Well, yeah. So there's not too much to say that I didn't like about this film, other than like I didn't care for the teddy bear. Now looking back, knowing that this is a mask on Krampus, it makes things a little different for me. I kind of wish I would have seen Krampus behind the mask, though. I would have liked to seen him unmasked.
Like your mind starts racing. What could he look like? What could he be? You see the eyes, and they're really evil and red, and just what is behind that? Like it gets you. It's like,
I mean, you see the rest of Krampus, and Krampus scary as fuck.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him without that mask.
Yeah.
You know.
That's why it works, because it makes you want to see him. That's how you know it works, because you want to see. If it didn't work, you'd be like, I don't care what it is. I'm whatever. Don't matter to me, but you want to. So.
But yeah, so everything kind of worked for me. There's a couple things I didn't care for, which of course made it I was gonna make it a 4.5, but I ended up just making it a 4-star.
Same page.
Yeah, just that's probably the best. The ending was a brilliant ending. I'm I'm not too big into the dark and dour endings, and this one worked for me. I really like that, being stuck in purgatory only to get your wish. That's pretty dark.
Yeah.
So
effectively
I enjoyed it. Yeah. So yeah, 4-star out of 5.
That's solid all around, man. Like I said, I'm on the same page with this one. To me, it could have been that 5-star easily could have been that 5-star if they would have went for it. They would have went presto and really pushed that rating up. And I mean, I don't know, man. It just what could have been, right? What we could have saw from this.
Yeah.
I mean, but still, I mean, I'll end up watching it every year around Christmas time, and it's starting to become a staple for me. So I enjoy the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Still to this day. I mean, watching it years later, I mean, I can't say I haven't seen it every Christmas, but it's on heavy rotation around Christmas time for me. So
yeah,
does a lot.
Definitely. Yeah, it's usually about a once a year watch. I do watch it around this time. Yeah. So
I'm not watching this movie in June or anything like that, but yeah, I'm definitely
no,
in December.
It's a December film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got anything else to add?
I don't think so, man. We covered just about all we could out of this one. So,
you ready to land it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, folks, we appreciate you watching our episode on Krampus, and we thank you again for your suggestions. And we hope you like, share, and subscribe. And check us out on our Facebook group if you're not a part of that and enjoying the conversation. I know next month we're going to discuss a little bit more on what we're going to be doing, but we will definitely let you guys know as soon as we know. And yeah, just keep us going, guys. Tony, you got anything to add to that?
I don't, man. I always appreciate, me and Corey both appreciate the support from the listeners, people in the Facebook group. You guys rock. You guys are amazing. Definitely makes it worth just you guys' reactions and discussions that we have just doing this and making this podcast, man. It's incredible, the community we've built, and just the interactions we have, man. We don't take it for granted. We appreciate you guys. We do. Thank you.
Yeah. But with that, guys, later.